So if someone submits to someone else, considering that someone else to be true God, then he's a Muslim. Did Jesus consider the one who submitted to that he's the true God only?
Jesus is God.
I hear you, but did he submit to someone who he considered to be the only true God?
Well, he considers himself. He is the.
Okay, let me help you with the scripture. In John 17:3, Jesus said, the Father is the only true God. And he submitted to the Father always, right?
Yes, but he is also God. Him and the Father are one.
But let's talk about John 73 first, and then we can deal with oneness of the Father and the Son. Because the disciples are one too, but it doesn't make them God, does it?
There is a different kind of one.
But Jesus said, just like I am the Father are one. So this oneness that he's talking to these disciples, just like I am the Father are one, you, my disciples, will be one with us. So the oneness is exactly the same according to Christ. Us. One with us in the New Testament. I can show you the reference. So when
17.
Jesus submits to his Father and says, not according to my will, but according to your will, so he is a true submitter and surrenderer to the Father, who he said in John 17:3, you are the only true God. So now we realize Jesus submits to his one true God. So he's a Muslim still.
But he was not a follower of Islam.
Moses was not a follower of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that sense, but he was a Muslim during his time. Every prophet and messenger were Muslims. Has to be, because you have to submit yourself to God, to the one and only God.
Which God?
Okay, the God of Abraham, Moses, Jacob, Solomon, Noah, the God of all the prophets. Did Jesus submit to a different God instead of the God of Abraham, instead of the God of Moses? Or did he submit his will to the God of all the prophets? He did submit to the God of all the prophets. God is the God of all the prophets. So when Jesus bowed down and put his head on the ground and he was praying to God, who was he praying to? Not the God of the Egyptians. He was praying to the God of Abraham, to the God of Moses, the God of Adam, the God of all the prophets in the past, to his God.
Notes coming out, yeah?
Do you think God prays to God? God doesn't pray to anyone.
Well, actually, in Hebrews it said that Jesus is in heaven at the right hand of God interceding for us, which means that he is praying to God about us, concerning us.
Does God pray to someone else?
God praying to God.
Do you know what God praying means? A prayer of mine would be, I pray to someone because I am not the one able to answer my prayer. Imagine I say, oh God, remove this suffering from me. What it means is I am unable to remove the suffering, something that is befallen me. So when I pray, oh God, help me, because I'm helpless. I know I cannot help myself. That's why I pray. If Jesus prays to anyone, it shows his helplessness and his need and his deficiency.
It's a very narrow definition of prayer, because there's prayer can be adoration, it can be expressing worship of God. It's not necessarily needing and therefore acknowledging a deficiency that I can't fulfill. I appreciate that's part of it, but adoration and worship is surely part of it.
You're right,
as well.
you're absolutely right. Prayer encompasses a lot of things, but I specifically highlighted those areas where Jesus showed his helplessness. He went in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he left the disciples, said, you wait here while I go and pray. And what did he pray? He says, let this cup be away from me. Not according to my will, but according to your will. So he submitted his will
To the Father.
to his God. And he said, it's not my will for that, whatever your will. And that's why in the Lord's Prayer, what do you read in the Lord's Prayer? Oh, our Father who is in heaven, or our Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. What do you read? Oh, our Father. You don't say, oh, our Father and Son and the Holy Spirit in heaven or on earth. Remember, God came on earth according to Christian theology. But the same God is praying up there. Oh, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done. Whose will be done? Whose kingdom to become? His. Jesus acknowledges only one person as the true God. Do you know who this one person is? It's the Father. In Christian Orthodox belief, God is three persons: Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. But Jesus acknowledges God to be one person, only the Father. He says, you, the only true God. In John 17:3. Shall we read this? You can read it up yourself now or later. John 17:3 is a verse which the verse which the Trinitarians tried to feel that it was never there. Because that's one statement Jesus identifies who his God is.
Just that one statement. We're going to base everything on that one statement.
Is there any other statement where Jesus said that he's also part of God?
Have you read all of the Bible?
Yes, actually, a lot more times than that one time. He says, I am.
Why does he say, I am the way, the truth,
Can you show me one instance, just one, where he says, I am God? Just one instance where Jesus said, I am God. From anywhere in your New Testament.
Yes, sir.
Remember, we are talking about Jesus claiming on this earth while he was here, he's saying, I am God. This is what you expect, right? I agree. You should expect that for someone who's God on earth to say that. I am God. Otherwise, people would not believe in him or not even understand or know him or recognize him. So, did he even say such a statement even once? I have read the New Testament. I haven't found it. Maybe you can help me with that.
Statement in John 8:58.
Can you read it?
Before Abraham was, Jesus said to him, truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am.
But that's not what the lady was saying here. The lady was saying, Jesus says, I am God.
I am is God.
Please, one second. When you make a statement, someone says, I am God, there are three words in that statement. I am God.
Okay, and what was the name of God? God was speaking to Moses in the Old Testament. And
God's
he said,
name.
Would I tell the people that my God's name is? What is your name? And he said, I am.
No, I beg to differ. Moses, upon him be peace, was not speaking English. He was speaking Hebrew. In the Hebrew he says, Yahya, Yasher, Yahya. I am who I am. If you look at the New Testament, the name Yahweh is not found even once in the entirety of the New Testament. The name Abraham, or Abrahamov, or Abraham is found in the Old Testament, and then in the verse you quoted. Before Abraham, I am, yes? Prin, Abraham, Geneste, or Genomai, Ego, Amy. That's the Greek. Did you hear the word Yahweh?
No.
Yahya, Yahya, not. But you heard the word Abraham. The name, personal name, is retained even when you cross culture and boundary to a different culture, a different language. If my name is Mansur, in English, still Mansur. In Chinese, still Mansur. If the name of God is Yahweh, it's still Yahweh in any other language. But you would not find, surprisingly, this name in any of the New Testament even once. So the fact remains, Jesus did not use the name Yahweh, unless you can prove me wrong.
Well, my Bible's in English. So.
No, you are quoting English.
The response to that, though, is that they pick up stones to stone them. The Jewish leaders understood what that statement meant.
But actually, no. If someone, let me explain. If somebody takes the accusation of people to be evidence of accusation, in any court of law, it will not be accepted. Why? People make accusations against you, like, oh, you are a bad woman, you are a bad man. Did you actually do anything to be bad or not? So accusations are not evidence by themselves. The same Jewish people, not anyone different, said, you are a madman, demon-possessed. So, do you take their statement to be true? You should be consistent. If you take accusations of the Jewish...
What were they reacting to? They
Sorry. If you take accusations of the Pharisees and the Sadducees to be true, you need to be consistent in your approach. They were accusing Jesus to be demon-possessed, a madman.
You're being inconsistent because they were not accusing here. They did not make a verbal accusation of Jesus Christ. They responded to his statement.
In fact, in the same passage, if you look at it, if you read, if you remind yourself, they were not surprised that Jesus was claiming to be God. Not at all. What is the context? He said, Abraham saw my day and he rejoiced. And they said, you're not even 50 years old. How can you say you met Abraham? So the context is, he is claiming, Jesus is making a statement, Abraham and me, at one point we were contemporary. He saw me and he was happy. He rejoiced. So it's not about being divine in any shape or form. It's about being there with Abraham. Now the problem is this kind of interpretation is very faulty. Why? Melchizedek, he was also contemporary of Abraham. But not only that, Melchizedek have no beginning, no end. So he existed even before, without a beginning, without an end. Does that make Melchizedek divine or God? It doesn't. So even if Jesus was there at the time of Abraham, like Melchizedek was, it doesn't make Jesus God, it doesn't make Melchizedek God.